Hello, welcome back to another video and welcome to my 2025 R Fantasy TBR, maybe. So if you saw my 2024 R Fantasy wrap up, you'll see that even though I set myself a TBR, I think I read a grand total of 3 books that I had planned to read. So I forgot this part of the rules last year. You can only have one reread and you can't repeat authors other than authors in the short stories. So yeah, I'm going to try and remember that for this year. Oh, also on the book club read has got to be part of the R Fantasy book club, not just any random book club that you choose. So I am setting a TBR for the 2025 R Fantasy. I am trying to attempt hard mode again. Sorry again about Bella in the background. She'll just be squeaking for a while. If I don't achieve hard mode on everything, it's not the end of the world. I would like to attempt to, but I'm not like super precious about it. This is just to have fun, obviously. But let's go. I'm going to scoot over here. I'll pop the grid up there. I'm starting in the top left-hand corner. The first prompt is Knights or Paladins. The prompt is the protagonist is a knight or a paladin, with the hard mode being a character has got an oath or a promise to fulfill. So for that one, I am putting on The Way of Kings, part 1. I don't know why, other than on all of the lists, people say, oh, Stormlight will be perfect for that prompt. So I'm assuming that Stormlight is going to be perfect for that prompt. I'm not giving you synopsis of the books because I've got a lot here. So yeah, Stormlight is that one. My other option is potentially Legendborn by Tracy Deonn, but I've unhauled that book. So if you can persuade me to rehaul it, then that might be an option. The second prompt is Hidden Gem, with less than 1,000 ratings on Goodreads, and the hard mode is published more than 5 years ago. So I'm going with The Briarman by Joseph A. Chadwick. I don't remember off the top of my head how many ratings on Goodreads it has, but I'll pop that down here. This was published in 2021, so not more than 5 years ago, so it doesn't achieve hard mode, but I feel like it's a good contender. Also, I was sent this by the author in 2021. I still haven't read it, so it's got to go on here because I really absolutely have to read this book. Number 3 is published in the 80s, with hard mode being an author of colour. So this one, actually, I really struggled with. I don't think there's anything actually on my shelves that was published in the 80s. So what I'm putting on is potentially Dawn by Octavia E. Butler. I do not own this book. I've never read anything by Octavia E. Butler. That one does reach hard mode though. If I don't get to Dawn, another option that I am potentially could read is Moretta, Dragon Lady of Pern by Anne McCaffrey. That one would not hit hard mode, but it is my favourite, I think, in the Dragons of Pern series, so I'd be very happy for a reread. Number 4, the prompt is high fashion, with it being clothes or fashion is important to the plot, and hard mode being the main character makes clothes. So for this one, I was struggling. All I could think of was Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim, which I have unhauled, and then I saw on a thread somewhere that reminded me that the main male character in The Crimson Moth is a tailor, so therefore I'm putting on Rebel Witch by Kristen Cicerelli, because this character will also, I presume, be in Rebel Witch, and I presume he's still going to be a tailor, whether or not he is actively, making clothes. But clothes and fashion were important to the plot of Crimson Moth, so I feel like it could work. And then prompt number 5, we have got Down with the System, with the prompt is a plot that disrupts a system, and hard mode being not government. So I am going to put on Golden Sun by P.S. Brown. I want to reread Red Rising before I get to Golden Sun, but I don't want to use my one reread on this square if I can avoid it. This one, I guess it does overthrow the government system, I suppose, so it probably doesn't count for hard mode. I am struggling to think of anything that does count for hard mode, to be honest. Other options I've got on here are Blood Over Bright Haven by Emma Wang. I don't actually know what this book's about. I guess Hunger Games, but again, that's a government system. Yeah, I don't know. That's as far as we've got. Okay, row 2. Let me grab stack 2. So first prompt is impossible places, and the prompt is a location that would break a physicist. So somewhere where it's like bigger on the inside than the outside, impossible to get to, that kind of thing. And hard mode is 50% of the book takes place there. I am putting on Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I do not know why this one would break a physicist. It's something to do with a mysterious house. I don't know if it would count for hard mode, but I saw it in a thread and I was like, I own that, I'm going for it. Next, we're going with a book in parts. So a book that is separated into parts, and hard mode being 4+ parts. I am going to check if this one is in 4+ parts. This book has got 3 parts, so it wouldn't count for hard mode. And that is Temeraire by Naomi Novik. I had originally put on Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. I'm currently reading Hero of Ages, and I've currently started part 5, so it would count for hard mode. However, that would then mean that I'm not able to use Stormlight. So Hero of Ages is definitely a possibility, and it would count for hard mode, but I'm gonna attempt to get Temeraire just so that I can, yeah, basically try and fulfill it all properly. I feel like this is quite a difficult square in that you won't know other than when you read the book. And it's not a square that, you know, in 12 months time I can kind of rejig things around and be like, oh yeah, that book had 5 parts in it, because I'm not gonna remember that. Next we have got Gods and Pantheons. So the prompt is the book contains divine beings, with the hard mode being there are multiple pantheons. I'm going with Percy Jackson. I've just grabbed Chalice of the Gods. This isn't the next book that I need to read in the Percy Jackson series. I have got 3 more books in the Hero of Olympus series, but that one would also count anyway because we've got Greek gods and we have got Roman gods in Hero of Olympus. This one, again, I think it will be because of where we're at in the Percy Jackson series. There are Greek and Roman gods currently in the world. So yeah, I think this one counts for hard mode, or any of the Percy Jacksons that I need to read. The next one is last in the series, with the hard mode being 4+ books in the series, and for that one I'm going with Wrath by John Gwynne. This one is book 4 in The Faithful and the Fallen, and I will be getting to it soon, so it counts for hard mode. And then we've got the one which I struggle with, which is the book club or read along pick. It has to be part of the Our Fantasy Book Club. I forgot that. And the hard mode is it has to be part of Our Fantasy Book Club or read along from this year. So I'm putting on, because it was the first one I grabbed, A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid. However, I've got a list here of books that I own or I'm interested in, which include The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst, The Book of Love by Kelly Link, The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett, Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Hashuku. Can I find you? Hashuku Tsumaru. Can't find the book. Hashuki Tsumaru, I think. I don't remember. Lonely Castle in the Mirror. Final Strife by Sarah Al-Arifi, and The Adventures of Amina El-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. Yeah, currently Study in Drowning is the one that is there on the list, but again, that may change. On to row 3, we have got parents as the first prompt. So the prompt is someone who cares for a child, doesn't need to be a biological parent, but is caring for a child. And the hard mode is that the child is a major character. So I'm putting on The Book Eaters by Sunya Dean. So literally on the back, it says once there was a mother who fed on stories. So therefore there is a mother in this book. I believe the child feeds on something different, feeds on souls instead of stories. So is like the main catalyst, I suppose, of the book. So I think this one would count for hard mode. Then we have got epistolary. I don't know if I'm saying that right. So prominently features letters, journal entries, diaries, etc. And hard mode is it is entirely written in a epistolary format. So I'm putting on This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amalal Mota and Max Gladstone. This one is definitely, there are a lot of letters included in this one. I don't know if it is entirely epistolary. The other option I have for this is Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. Again, I don't know if that is told entirely through letters or not. There we go. Then we have got published in 2025 with hard mode being the book is a debut. This, to be honest, is probably going to be a really straightforward one because I get 2 currently. Hopefully will be 3 book box subscriptions, so I get new releases most months. The ones that I've put on here, The Devils by Joe Abercrombie will not be hard mode, but is a new release that I plan on reading when it comes out. Or Alchemized, which I cannot wait to read, like one of my most anticipated books this year. And that one will also be a debut, so will count for hard mode. However, I feel like between Fairy Loot and Illumicrate and my own work, there are going to be other debuts that I'm going to be reading. Next we have got Author of Colour with hard mode being a horror. So I'm going with This Cursed House by Del Sandine. This is a debut horror written by an author of colour about a cursed house. I don't know what it's about, I'll be honest. I think it's a maid in like the 60s comes to a house and they think that she's breaking a curse or something. This is a bound manuscript, so I don't actually have a synopsis, but I meant to read this one last year. I didn't get to it. I'm excited by it though. And then next we have got small press or self-published with hard mode being less than 1,000 ratings on Goodreads or marginalized author. So this one, very tricky. I've got on my shelf Redemptor by Jordan Ifuku, which is published by Hotkey Books, which is a small press. Jordan Ifuku is also a person of colour, so a marginalised author, so it would count for hard mode. I've got a number of books on my KU as well, which are self-published. So off the top of my head, we've got, is it The City of Gods? This Veiled Kingdom. I want to read, is it A Forbidden Fate? There's a number on my KU which are self-published, which I would like to read. This one is possibly gonna go down, yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to read for this one, because I was looking through my books on KU trying to find one with 100 ratings on Goodreads. That is tough. Yeah, so I don't know if I'm going to find one with less than 100 ratings is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, row number 4. So then we have got Biopunk. This one, I'll be honest, I didn't entirely understand the premise. So this is a book that features biotechnology or deals with the consequences of biotechnology, and hard mode is there's no electricity. I had to just use, well, mainly mainly like suggestions from like the threads in the Storygraph, to try and think of something for this one because I didn't entirely understand it. I've got on here Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. I don't know if it counts because I don't really know what biotechnology is and I haven't read it, so I don't know if it includes it. Obviously, if I read this one, then that means that I can't use Octavia E. Butler in the one that I was going to use her for earlier. So, you know, we've got to be smart here. I do have other options. My other options include The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett, Scythe by Neil Schusterman. I'm on to book 2, which would be Thunderhead, and The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Again, that would be a reread. We'll see. Next, we have got Elves or Dwarfs, with the main character being an elf or a dwarf. I have got Cursebound by Sarah Alarifi for this one. In this one, I don't actually remember if our main characters are human or elves, but they are one of them, and they go and live with the Fae. I need to double check whether they are human or elves. There are definitely elves included in this world. I think our main characters are elves and they were fighting the humans. I think I may be wrong. But there are definitely elves in there. I feel like elves and dwarfs is a more straightforward prompt. Last year's similar one was like trolls and ogres, which was really difficult. So yeah, I'm not too concerned with that one. The next prompt we have got is a LGBTQIA protagonist, and the hard mode is the protagonist is marginalized in some other way. So I have got on my list Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. I don't know if the main character is marginalized in another way apart from being queer, but other options I've got on here are The Book of Love by Kelly Link, This Is How You Lose the Time War, and To Shape a Dragon's Breath. Again, I don't actually know if any of them hit hard mode or not. The next prompt that I have, all my books fell over. The next prompt that I've got is 5 short stories, with hard mode being read the entire collection. So I am once again going with Cassandra Clare and putting on Ghosts of the Shadow Market. I think by looking on Goodreads, I think there are like 11 short stories in here, so that will absolutely count. I'll be honest, that is the last of the short story collections that I have in the Shadowhunter world, so if I carry on doing our fantasy, I'm going to have to think of something different for this prompt, because this prompt is difficult because I don't like read short stories. Next, we have got Stranger in a Strange Land. So this is a foreigner who is in a new culture, with hard mode being they are a immigrant or a refugee. For this one, I have got To Shape a Dragon's Breath. I don't know why. I saw it on a list. Again, I feel like Stranger in a Strange Land is quite a typical fantasy trope. So Feybound would have counted. Things like Quicksilver would count as well, because our main character kind of falls through a wormhole into a strange land. I can't think off the top of my head something for the hard mode of being explicitly an immigrant or a refugee, but I think I will read something that fits. And then onto our bottom row, we have got, first one is Recycle a Bingo Square. So for this one, I don't remember what year this one is from, but it wasn't last year, 2023 or earlier. And one of the squares was the bottom of the TBR. So a book that has been on your TBR for the longest time. And for that one, I am going with Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. This has been on my TBR since 2020. And I really need to get it read. Other options I have, let me just check notes. I have got The Last Namsara by Kristen Cicerelli, The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Adier, An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Owens, The Hedge Knight by George R.R. Martin, Middle Game by Shauna Maguire, or Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. One of them. But Daughter of Smoke and Bone is the one that I am prioritising the most because A, I own it physically, and B, I own the full trilogy and I really, really need to get some. So the next one we have got is Cozy Science Fiction or Fantasy, with the hard mode being a new to you author. So I've got a few options here. I was thinking as well, I haven't got it written down, but The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst I think is cozy. I have read from Sarah Beth Durst before though, so it wouldn't be reaching hard mode. I've got written down here Brigands and Bread Knives, which I believe is the next in the Legends and Lattes series. Again, I've read from Travis Bulgy before. Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune. I have read from that author before. Apparently The Goblin Emperor by someone called Catherine, I think. I don't know anything about this book other than my friend Susanna always tells me to read it, and I don't know if it's cozy or not. Or we've got A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, which is the one which is probably top on the list. I haven't read anything by Becky Chambers. I don't know how cozy A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet is, but it was on a list somewhere, so I'm counting it. Next we have got a prompt which I think is really fun actually, which is generic title. So that is a title containing one of the following words: blood, bone, broken, court, dark, shadow, song, sword or throne, with hard mode being the title contains multiple of those words or a word and a colour, number or animal. I just picked up the first one that I grabbed on my shelves, which is Silver and the Bone. So you can tell I went through blood and then I got to bone, and then this is what I found. That hits hard mode because silver is a colour. I think this is a really fun prompt. There are going to be so many books on my TBR that would fit this that I'm not like actually concerned about completing that one. Then we have got not a book, so do something that is not reading a book. So watch a movie, TV, play a game. I have no idea what I'm going to do for this one. So my thoughts are I could maybe watch Dune. I don't know if I'm going to like Dune, but like I've heard a few people mention it recently and that makes me kind of think, do I want to read it? I don't think I want to actually embark on such a massive sci-fi world, but I could watch Dune. I'm also, part of me is thinking, do I want to, I think it's got to be something brand new to you. And I'm kind of thinking, do I want to watch some of the Star Wars films? But I think I've seen the original trilogy. I'm not 100% sure because I remember like my old flatmate made me watch them and I fell asleep. So I could watch the original Star Wars because also they're on Disney Plus. I could watch something else in like the Marvel universe. I think it's going to be film or TV, let's be totally honest. I'm not really a gamer. I've never played a video game in my life, and I'm not really like an RPG gamer either. Like those aren't things that necessarily interest me. But we will see. I will do a thing. And then their final prompt is pirates, with the prompt being that they're pirates doing piracy, the hard mode being that they are not seafaring pirates. So I have got The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi, which does not complete hard mode. Amina is a seafaring pirate. I think I just had a power cut. Another option I've got on here is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. Again, Brandy Sandy is on other like lists here, so I don't know if I can use him. I'm gonna see if I can find something where it's pirates not being piratey. There is a book that I'm working on soon called Captain of Fates, I think, but again I think seafaring pirates, but we'll come to that one. So that is my attempt at the Our Fantasy Book Bingo 2025 TBR. Let me know if you're taking part this year. Let me know what you think of the picks. Do you have any suggestions for me for any of the prompts? Similarly to last year, not a single one of these books is set in stone. There are a couple which I know I will be reading. Okay, there's one that I know I will be reading, which is Wrath. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my lights here, sorry. There is one book which I know I will be reading, which is Wrath by John Gwynne. Oh, two books, and I will also be reading Stormlight Archives, but again, I don't know if I'm going to count Stormlight Archives for that one because tricky. So let me know if you've got any better suggestions for any of these prompts. If you like this video, please leave me a like, subscribe down below. If you just want to let me know you were here, leave me some form of piratey emoji for Mina Al Sarafi because it is right next to me. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.